Hi, I'm Japonica Brown-Saracino. I'm professor of sociology, and I'm going to talk with you today about research that I'm actually just launching. So a few years ago, my collaborator, Robin Bartram, who's at the University of Chicago, and I began to notice increasing media reports about a rise in female home ownership rates. Now, reporters were writing about a very real trend. The home ownership rate among women in the US increased from about 51% to about 61% between 1990 and 2019, while the home ownership rate among men dropped slightly. However, we were particularly struck by the uniformly positive depictions of women's experiences of home ownership. Consider this New York Times article, which suggests that for some women, investing in real estate is a form of self-care. According to the Washington Post article, A Different Biological Clock, becoming a homeowner satisfies an innate female urge. These are just two examples of the media's celebration of high numbers of female homeowners and its depiction of the associated unambiguous economic and psychological rewards for women of owning a home. This uniformly positive coverage caught our attention because we have both long conducted research on housing. I've studied gentrification and lesbian, bisexual, and queer women's residential choices. Robin studied building inspectors in Chicago and home repair efforts in New Orleans. Across our diverse set of studies, we encountered abundant evidence that home ownership can be both a benefit and a burden, and that the benefits and burdens of home ownership are not equally distributed. Consider some findings from Robin's previous research with homeowners in New Orleans. Some emphasize the challenges of maintaining a home and of generating financial stability for their families. Many nonetheless offered positive statements about ownership. One woman spoke about her home as a refuge from a violent partner, even though she was unable to fix her home's failing roof. Others spoke about their homes as having little monetary value, but as being of great worth to extended family who can stay there during times of residential instability. Still others purchased their homes decades ago with relative ease, only to find that they must now decide between delaying maintenance or making timely tax or insurance payments. We know that context matters too. Gentrification can transform home ownership from a positive to a negative experience. Take, for example, Gloria, an elderly widow I interviewed 20 years ago in the gentrifying seaside town of Provincetown, Massachusetts. Long after retirement age, she worked as a waitress to help pay her rising property taxes, and she was flummoxed when she was brought before the Town Historic Preservation District Committee for having failed to replace her drafty windows with an historically authentic and more expensive version. Every day was a struggle to keep the home she'd lived in for almost an entire lifetime, as one by one affluent newcomers replaced her fellow Portuguese American neighbors. So this is why she was waiting tables well into her 70s to pay her property taxes and maintain her home. These findings from our previous research guide our research questions, which are primarily oriented around identifying heterogeneity in experiences and outcomes of home ownership by person, group, and context. I am, of course, presenting more on research plans than on research findings. A year from now, I hope to have much more to share with you. To date, we've published an op-ed on these themes in CityLab and have been invited to publish an article on gender and housing in the annual review of sociology, which we're currently writing. Much of what we're grappling with in the review is the striking dearth of attention to gender and housing research, save for a few notable exceptions, much of which is in social work we're finding so far. We are also applying for grants so that we can launch a study next year of a demographically diverse set of women homeowners in 2 cities, and I hope to have more to report. Thank you.